Hello, hello, hello. I am Dory Joe Stoll with Prairie Scraps, and I'm actually doing two things trying to kill two stones or two birds with one stone. Don't mind me while I am in great confusion. Today, I am actually over at a doing a craft show over in a neighboring town. And so I was unable to be absolutely live, but I'm doing the best I can over here and pre-recording my live, if that makes sense. So I'm not doing any editing whatsoever. It's just it is what it is. I will be here. Oh, I am live. Hello, Victoria. Oops. I meant for that to be private, but good for you. Whoops. This is day 9 of my 30-day homemade gifts and Christmas gifts. I will get it one of these times. By 30 days, I will get it. Hello, hello. So I am actually going to be going live as well in the DIY arts and crafts room. So I have my t-shirt on. I'm going to be downloading it and getting it up to YouTube. YouTube. I'm on YouTube, not YouTube, on to Facebook. I'm confused. Oh, yes. So I will be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. and on Saturday, it is Saturday. I'm going to be recording this, saving it off, and uploading it onto Facebook. So you can find me over at Prairie Scraps on YouTube and Facebook. I hope you'll go over and check it out in both places and do all the things, share it out and everything. And of course, go over to the DIY Arts and Crafts Room on Facebook, even though I'm confused as to where I am. So anyway, you get a preview. So I am going to be doing a gift idea for Christmas today, a homemade gift idea. And it's a little bit different than my normal. I do a lot of signs and I like to repurpose things. I like to take old items and repurpose them and do all kinds of crafting things. And I hope you'll come along today and maybe get some ideas. I actually for not it's been a couple years, but my son was in a 4-H project for 3 years to go to Washington D.C. Focus is what it's called, and our county had a program going for them. It was a 3-year program. They had to do record books every single year, and then they had, like, I think it was 4 or 5 required fundraisers to raise all the funds to go to Washington D.C. with 4-H on a council. And unfortunately, the year that they were to go is the third year that they were to go. COVID, the plague. So anyway, the whole thing was canceled, the whole entire conference for 4-H in Washington, D.C. The trip was canceled, everything was canceled, and our county stopped doing the program. But one of the required, that was a long story for nothing. One of the required fundraisers that they had to do was to make wreaths, fresh wreaths. So we would go out to the forest and literally the forest and actually private property, and somebody would let us cut all the greens, and then we had these wreath makers, the wreath forms, and we would sit and spend an entire day cutting all the greens and then turning them into live wreaths. And then we had to take them home because they had to pre-sell at least 35, and in most cases it was 40 or 50 that we actually pre-sold with them each year. So for 3 years we made at least 35 to 50 wreaths. We took the fresh ones home and then decorated them and then delivered them to the people who pre-ordered them. So once we got home, then I spent a day or 2 or 3 days decorating wreaths. So I learned a lot of things about decorating wreaths. So I wanted to share that with you today. So some of the things that you need, and I think it's a great gift. You can either do live ones, but today I'm doing the fake one. So I got this fake one. Actually, it's not too bad. It was kind of smushed down my box. A couple years ago, I was trying to get some green. I was going to make them and I just never, you guys, I'm sure you never have that happen where you like buy craft supplies and then don't get around to it. I have stacks of stuff I'm going to do or whatever. I'm getting through some of it and it's getting out to the craft show. So anyway, this is a wreath that I got at Joann Fabrics. It's an 18-inch wreath that we're going to work on today. And it says it was $9.99. It's just a plain wreath. It doesn't have any lights or anything, but you could use a fresh one. Totally go to the grocery store or to our Ace Hardware had some fresh green ones, and I think they were maybe $20, 19.99. Not too bad, but they looked pretty plain Jane. You got them and they had just like a red bow on them. And the third year, I think it was the third year that we did the wreaths for our project, we decided we found a company to order them all through, and they came in a semi, and they're already pre-made, and they came with the bows and then some like pine cones to put on them. But what we did was we just put our own bows on them and everything. So what I would like to suggest is you can either do a preformed one. Maybe you've got one that needs a refresh in your house that you have used in the past. Or maybe you want to use some fresh bows. So anyway, I'm going to show you some things today that I learned from doing lots, like over 100 wreaths in a matter of 3 years. Is that right? Yeah, over 100 wreaths. I think the last 2 years we probably sold close to 50 of them in our family alone. And so anyway, we're going to be using the fake one. You could use a real one. Like I said, just go buy a real one that looks kind of cheesy and is on the cheaper side in a local grocery store or hardware store, or you can use a pre-made one. Get it on sale at your craft store if you have to, or maybe you have one laying around that just needs a refresh, and just rip everything off of it. And I'm going to show you how to decorate it. Makes a great gift to give to somebody at Christmas time. Last year, a friend of ours actually showed up, and she had just tied the greens together. She had gotten them from her parents' yard. They had gone out, picked them, and then put a really nice bow on it. And I'm telling you, it was the most touching gift ever. I just loved getting that homemade gift. So whichever way you go, I'm going to show you a couple things today on how to do that. The first thing I'm going to show you is actually going to be the bow. Actually, I'll show you that second. I'm going to show you how to make a really nice wreath bow, because trust me, I got to be a professional bow maker out of the whole thing. And then I'm going to tell you some of the tricks of the trade of decorating up the wreath. So that will be the second part, is we'll actually decorate the wreath. The first thing, however, is we are going to make a little banner to put on this. And I've actually never put a banner on, but I think it's going to be real pretty. Had this in my mind for a while now. So, I've been obsessing. So what you need is a wreath of some sort, whether fresh or not. And I just want to tell you something. I learned something doing the fresh boughs. It's going to die anyway, and it doesn't harm it hardly at all to go ahead and hot glue your bows and everything right to the live greens. You can totally do it. It's amazing. Or you can hot glue it to the fake one. So either way is fine. You are going to need one of these white LED light sets from the Dollar Tree, or it's $1.25, of course. Because we're going to add a little bit of extra bling to it, because what I learned is that people love to have the lights on their wreaths. I never knew. And you're going to need the battery operated one, so be careful, because they have the plug-in ones as well at the Dollar Tree. And getting this little screw out of here is the hardest part. I'm going to tell you, you're going to need a couple batteries for that too. That took me some time. My daughter never did achieve it. And then you need a bow maker of some sort. We're going to use just the simple one from Chalk Couture. And then also you need some nice ribbon, preferably at least 2 different colors or kinds. I like the wired kind. We're going to use a wide one and a thin one. I think I am. Yes, I'm going to try it. And I usually like to use all wide ones. So if that gives you any idea, but I've done it a lot. And I have a giant, I can't remember what it's called, bow maker, giant, with all the pegs and everything. But we're going to keep it simple here so that you can do this. You can do this. So the first thing we want to do is actually make our little banner to go on there. And we've got these shapeable banners from Chalk Couture, and because we're making a smaller wreath, that's what I'm going to use. It's already pre-cut and everything. It's ready to go. It is 4¼ inches by 13½ inches, and so it is ready to go. You could use one of our chalkable shapes as well if you'd like to put something on it, but this is what we're going to do today. And then I'm going to use one of the sayings on one of our transfers. We have a couple of transfers that are coordinating. Actually, I think it's going to have to be one of these. This is the transfer that is coordinating to this little guy. There's also a larger banner that you could make for your Christmas tree if you're excited about doing that. I have it here somewhere. It's in my pile of things to do, I promise you. Oh, it's over there. I can't reach it. And that coordinates with this other one right here. But these have a lot of great sign, but you could do the whole thing. It says peace on earth, goodwill to men. And then it's got the little peace dove and everything like that to go with it. And then, so the one we're going to use today actually is Sleigh Bells Ring. So I haven't completely decided which one, but there's a lot of different words that you can use for this one. It says deck the halls, Merry Christmas, 'tis the season, season's greetings, sleigh bells ring. And I tell you what, if you were going to do sleigh bells ring, I highly suggest putting some bells on. Hey, maybe we'll do that. And then it's got believe, it's got this cute little bird down here, and it's got two different kinds of greens to put on it. So I have some ideas. So I hope you guys will kind of stick around here and make sure that you do all the comments and go in to the Arts and Crafts DIY Arts and Crafts room as well tomorrow, all day on Saturday, all day long. Saturday, is it the 23rd? Yep. 23rd of November. Don't rush it, right? Don't rush it. Go in all day long, and there are going to be lots of Christmas ideas. So Christmas everything. I don't even know what the name of it is. I'm just trying to get this done. So I think I'm going to do the sleigh bells ring because I think it will be fun to put some sleigh bells onto here with the bow, right? And I've got some rusty bells, maybe, or some bright bells. We don't know. You just never know what I'm going to do. And I want to use this longer greens as well. So we're going to do a couple of things here today. Since this is fabric, if you were using this on an outside door, which I might, my door, let's just say you could use this with ink or you could use this with chalk. I'm going to do it with chalk, and I'll probably go ahead and add, just spray it really quick before I take it to my show. But this, and because it's a fabric, we do not need to fuzz off this first time we're using it. I'm just going to center it down. Let me put you down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to center it on here. And then I'm also going to use this greens. And I'm trying to decide, kind of want to do it on both sides. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see what we can do here. These could definitely be used on any signs that you want to use. The words are great, I think. I think these are well thought out words. Wide variety. You're going to get lots of use out of this if you like to make signs or whatever. That little bird's adorable. I feel like I'm almost over with Christmas. When do you guys decorate for Christmas? I would love to know the answer to that. I'm trying to hold out to Thanksgiving, but then my daughter warned me that Christmas is only 3 weeks after Thanksgiving this year because of the lateness of it. So I'm sort of panicking in my head about that. 3 weeks is not enough to decorate. But I'm having Thanksgiving at my house. So this is the other one we're going to use, and I think I want to put it on both sides, but we're going to first do this. So it's made to look, it's got wire in it so you can form it. I'm trying to leave it a little bit straight right now. And we're going to use, I think I'm just going to use plain old black on here to do the lettering. We're going to stick it down really, really firm and use some black velvet and a squeegee wherever that went. I don't know. I was bringing in squeegee. Ooh, what was that? Oh, it was my lights. All right. I was like, what was that flash? Thought I saw a flash. We're going to go ahead and do this. And whenever I would do ink, but I tell you what, I have been doing so many ink things. I am almost completely out of black ink. Oh no, I got black ink in today. I had ordered it. I'm out of red. I'm almost out of green. I'm out like all the staple colors for Christmas I'm out of because I've been making t-shirts galore. Um, I'm selling them at my craft show tomorrow, on Saturday on the 23rd. And so I just didn't realize. And then my daughter does the bleached. Ugh. Before you peel, make sure your fingers are clean. So that is helpful. Not to make fingerprints everywhere. I'm always a hot mess. If you are not a hot mess, I've gone silent. Oh no. Is it still silent, Victoria? Please tell me. I hope not. Okay. This does look like it has a little bit of grunginess to it, so I love it. Ooh, and just an FYI, you need a mat underneath it. Because look at my board. It kind of went through. So if you do this, make sure that you put something underneath or you don't mind it going through. So just an FYI about that. All right. I'm going to get something out to put underneath it. I didn't even think of doing that. But so there's two ways that you can seal this. One is actually doing ink, and that will keep it, just after it dries, go ahead and iron this with a piece of parchment paper over it if you do ink. However, like if you're like me, it might be easier for you to do the ink, but for me, I ran out and or am running out short on it, and so I'm gonna just do a clear coat of like Rust-Oleum. I'll just quick spray it, and that will make it permanent. It will make it keep for me before I ship it out. All right, we're already into our second wipe of the day. Congratulate me. We're having lots of fun. Victoria, can you tell me if I'm okay now? Is the sound okay? I'm hoping so. Nothing seems to be off. Unless I've gone silent. Am I silent? I'm going to go on because now you have me worried because my daughter did some rummaging around in here for me. I asked her to go find my glue. She trashed the place. I thought, well, because she was like, how can I help you? And I was like, go find my glue for me. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That would be terrible to do an hour long without any sound. Phew. You just made me sweat a little on that one. Okay, we're just going to put this on here so it goes through on this piece of board and I can throw it away or, let it dry. Oops, this is not the one I want to use though. I want to use the real looking one because it's got berries on it. Boy, wasn't that a crooked cut? My scissors got caught up in it. That was crazy. I'm a crazy cutter. I can't cut under pressure. All right, I really want to do this both ways twice, so we're gonna give it a go. You almost have to do it way down over the seam, which I'm a little bit nervous about because trying to think how to do this. All right, so I've got forest paste, and I was looking for something that would match my ribbon, and this one is like an exact match. And let's see, I don't know where my tool is at all. Oh, my life is chaos. See, this is my daughter. So my daughter bleached all her flannels that she's gonna sell a while back, and then has sat on them. Not that she hasn't been busy. I'm not saying that at all. I thought I had it in here because this is bad. My other tool is much better for this, but we're gonna. All right. I'm gonna try. I think I'm going to squeegee the whole thing green and then come back and do the red. That's what I'm going to do. I don't think I've ever done this, but there's a first time for everything. I'm just a little nervous about trying to get those reds and getting everything dried up, because the one nice thing about if you were to use ink, it has a little bit more longevity. You can just take your time. It doesn't dry in the transfer, but chalk, if it dries, it won't come off. So, you know, it'll come off. It will show a blank spot. So you want to work kind of quickly with chalk. So that's what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to peel this to reveal. That looks pretty good. I did miss a little bit over here. I'm just pressing it down again. Not too bad. Pretty. Very gorgeous. Do you see it? Sleigh bells ring. So pretty. All right. Quickly, we're going to do the other side. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did flip it around. And the reason for that is there's kind of like right here in the middle, there is like leaves going in the center. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but there's like kind of a pattern in the middle that makes it look like it should go that way. All right, we're going to do this side and then we'll come back. I'm going to have to put a little more because this is our second time. And then I'm going to wipe it down because I don't have a sink. Otherwise, I would, if this were you at home doing this, I would go ahead and wash it, let it dry. You just wash it with regular water. You can reuse this transfer up to 12 times if you take care of it really well, which we always do, right? Wash it in the sink with one of our board erasers. Woo! I almost went off the thing. And I'm just going to go slow with this. I want to make sure it printed on here. Wow, that is gorgeous. That is, I'm super happy about that. Look at that. That is nice. Do you see it? Isn't that nice? Thank you, thank you. Yes. You just wash it in the sink with a board eraser if you need to. A lot of it will just come off on its own, and it won't take much scrubbing to get it off. I usually do the top part, then turn it over and just get from the back a little bit and then go back to the top because I always miss something. So I'm just gonna set this aside so it dries, and in the modicum of time here, I'm just gonna try to wash it down right here. You could put it on your fuzz cloth as well. Speaking of which, we need a fuzz cloth packed up. Oops, that missed the bucket altogether. I was just like thinking, oh, I'm going to need a fuzz cloth tomorrow because I'm going to do some demonstrations at my craft show. And this does get kind of messy when you wash it this way because there's lots of chalk that comes off. So, but it'll be fine. I'm just using the wipes that I use. You can use Lysol wipes on these, but I use baby wipes with just water because it was for sensitive skin, you know, the stuff with no chemicals in it. And the reason for that is because my hands just rip apart. I'm allergic to Lysol. The Lysol wipes are the Lysol brand. So, all right. And then I just go ahead and put it back. I kind of like doing this on the backing because it just goes on there. You can easily just wipe off the chalk. But after I'm done with this all, I will take it to the sink and wash it. And then when you dry it, you want to dry it sticky side up for a while on a flat surface until it dries. And then go ahead and put it back on your backing. So, all right, get that greenness out of here. see if that's gotten dry. Bring that back. I don't want to put my green fingers on it yet. I think it is. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness, you guys, loving it. Love, love, love it. Okay, so what I want to do now is put this. First, I'm going to make sure it's dry because I don't want it to come off. Doesn't feel wet. It's not coming off of my fingers, but I can. This part is a little bit wet. What I want to go back and do now that I have it green is go back and get those berries with some red, some cherry, so it matches this ribbon. You know, do you see the theme? I think it's gorgeous. How fun is it that we can make a little banner? I just love this. I suppose you could make it with, a wide piece of ribbon or something, but I'm telling you, this is super affordable. This was not an expensive little ribbon, especially if you're in the perks or a designer. All right, so I just put that over. The trick is to make sure you don't see any of the brown through. You want it to be showing green through. This is the hardest part, is lining it up. You want it to be perfectly green. Sometimes if you have just a little bit of the surface showing through, you won't be happy with that. All right. I'll try to get some berries here. Maybe a little bit much. And I'm just going to use this like a paintbrush really quickly and just go down the line and get all the berries, because we're going to just try to get just a touch, a skosh of red on here. This is the most difficult part, I think. And hopefully it's working. You just never know. I'm not really great at this. I have carpal tunnel, so doing something like this for a long period of time is not easy for me, but I could do it for a little bit. And, sometimes we just power through. I'm kind of used to that. They wanted to do the surgery on my carpal tunnel, I don't know. I was pregnant with my second, and she's like 25 now. So 25 years ago. I'm still kicking. I'm still playing piano. I'm still playing trumpet and still crafting. So I have no regrets about not getting the surgery. And I knew at the time too that if I waited, the surgeries would get better and better because technology gets better. So now I'm starting to think I'm too old. All right. Just a touch of red on there. Can you see it? Isn't that gorgeous? It's perfect. And of course, the green is underneath it, right? And I'm going to flip this over again, try to get it lined up on there. It's okay that red is there. We're just trying to get the green. You can't really see as well where the red is, but the green for sure. So get the green lined up so there's no white underneath it. Oops, there it is. Oop. You could leave this totally green. You wouldn't have to do the red part if you didn't want to. It was definitely beautiful that way as well. I'm just pressing where the red is because that's what I want to make sure is there. And it's going to transfer the red for sure. Oops, this side is not exactly on. So I may have started some faint red. So it's going to start some red there because I pushed on it. But that's going to be okay. We're just going to plow ahead here and work on getting these berries. And, they're kind of like a greenish red berry. All right. And we're making sure we press down, getting it wet. Make sure you remember where you went. Because, oops, a little much. It's actually a little bit easier this time because I can see where the berries were. We're getting kind of messy. I don't know. I had a little extra over here, so I'm gonna pull a little bit slower this time because I want to make sure that they all show up. Because if they don't show up, I can lay it back down. Because the second time you use a transfer, it doesn't always go as well. And really, we're looking at the fourth time here, right? I'm just going to put that down. Okay, Mr. Berry. That's better. It is, once you have the red on there, it is a little more difficult to see where it's transferring, where it's not. So I'm just pulling it up, peeling it back, repressing on it if I need to. That one was better. That one looks good. This one, not so much. There we go. And this one is not as exact as, it's not as good as the other one, but they're not perfect. But that's part of the homemade part, isn't it? That's part of the fun and the thought that counts. So what kind of things are you working on this weekend? Are you all crafting along? Okay, they all kind of transferred pretty well there, except that last one. So just went back on it, and then I'll set this aside to wash it in the sink in the kitchen. When I get done here, we'll wash that up. All right, let me show you that up close. I'm going to get this shut. My red is definitely a little dry. We're getting to the end of the bottle, and that air in there sometimes gets your paste all dried up. So what I do is when I'm getting dry, I will spritz on top of it so it sort of puts a film of water on the top. And hopefully that'll, but when I go to open it the next time, it'll be nice and moist. At least it won't be continue to dry it. It'll be getting moistened by what I spray on it. All right, here it is. Oh my goodness, you guys. I love that. It is so gorgeous. I don't know if I can sell this. All right, so I'm going to set this aside carefully because it's still not dry, but I think it'll dry while we're doing the next step. So back to that wreath form. We're going to go ahead and figure out where the top of our wreath is and do a little frilling. The one thing, even with fresh greens, it takes a little bit of frilling, and sometimes I had to trim them to make them, more even. So that's just kind of part of it. It's like all in the fluffing. The same is the case for your bows too. So 95% of bow making is actually going to be fluffing and frilling. All right, so the first thing I want to do with this is put some lights on it. And remember, I had these, oops, there's my lights. Sorry for the brightness of it. These are white LED light sets. They also, I like the whites. The whites are classic. They also had, and this I think we're going to want to put on the back in the middle, like where we want to hang it, because it's kind of a heavier thing. We don't want it hanging out down below. We're going to try to put it behind the bow. So I think we're just going to pick this spot arbitrarily, and we're going to start wrapping these lights around. I'm going to turn it on so I can see where they are. That is pretty light, isn't it? It's pretty bright. And I don't know if you might want to have, hopefully this is, I didn't even check. If you want more lights, you might want to go with 2 of these battery operated, but I like the idea of 1. You must know the truth. I did decide to purchase the green ones so that they could hide within the greens, and I'm just gonna sink it down in here so that it's in there. Those are pretty bright. They're kind of hurting my eyes. And eventually, if I need to, I will kind of wrap them around, but I'm trying to just get it so it's evenly around, and I'm going to put the bow up here. So it's going to be okay. There's not going to, I don't need to have lights right up here at this point. The best thing to do, I think, I mean, I'm in a different circumstance right here because I'm trying to demo this and show you for this event. The best thing to do for when you're doing wreaths is to hang them up like on a door and hang them and decorate them that way, because then you can see how does it look, is it looking even, and then just pull any of the lights through. You want them to be on the outside. Try to tuck those wires in, whatever looks best. And I'll probably fuss with it even more, once I get this done, this part done. And we're gonna try to put this tucked in and attached. I don't want to run out my batteries either. So I'm gonna wrap this around so that it's up in there. See how nicely that, even though we've got the lights in there, how nicely you could buy these with the lights on, but I went to the big HL recently and was looking for some wreaths. I actually got one there because they were 50% off. Don't ever buy wreaths, but they were like spendy. They were like $150 for the lighted ones and the ones that were kind of trendy. So I'm telling you, you can just take, a cheaper version. Just look for the best, cheapest version you can get. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm going to pull this around a little bit more because I see that I have a little kink on the end here that I don't need. So just do the best you can. You don't have to spend $120. I think you can dress it up and make it look like it. You could even add greens in, like different picks, like the Dollar Tree picks. Don't go crazy. Maybe 3 picks of, different ones will absolutely make it different. So there we go. It may not be perfect. Where's my end here? Is that the end? Oh, shoot. All right. We do want them evenly around the bottom. And like I said, this isn't going to go all the way around, but we're going to put the bow right here. So we're going to make a nice big bow for this. And I'll probably come in and maybe tie this on here a little bit better on the back as we get going. I'm going to shut this off for now. We don't want to run out of battery before we start. Okay, so we got the lights in there. We're going to tuck those in there. Oh, and it just comes on. Don't like that. It is $1, right? All right. So the next thing we got to do is make a bow. And so hopefully I can show you and describe this as best we can. I'm going to make it with 2 at the same time. And I'm going to make one of those fluffy bows that you put on wreaths, that you see on wreaths. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually put this off to the side. I like it on my right side. I'm going to stack both of these on here. And let's see if we can get you here. I don't want you to miss it. All right, here we go. So what we want to do is have them going on the outside. I'm going to grab them both at the same time, and I'm just going to work with the little one on top of the big one. If you do it the other way around, you won't see the little one when you do it. So what you want to do is have because there are 2 sides. One side is not printed on, the other side is. We want this facing up towards the ceiling at all times. Okay. So what I'm going to do is start with the end, and I'm going to go a little longer than this. It actually comes with 3 posts on it. And I think I'm missing my stoppers. It does come with stoppers, and we opened it up with a friend of mine on a craft night, and I think it got thrown out in the garbage. So anyway, it bothers me just because I know there's little stoppers to hold it, but it's okay. So I like to, because I'm using some wider ribbon, I just put it farther apart so there's a hole in between, and I just use these 2 center ones. And there's different bows and different things you can do with the other ends. You could wrap them around. But for tonight, we're just going to go ahead, or for today, we're just going to go ahead and start with the end. And what you want to do is where we're putting it in this, first, don't forget this part. We need some twine inside of here first. So first put in a piece of twine that's long enough to like tie it on to where you need it. So I always like to give more twine than not. So that is the first process here. So you put that on the bottom. That's going to be what we attach it to the wreath with. And then we're going to have these stacked up, and I'm going a little bit longer than the end of the post for the tail. This is going to be one of the tails or two of the tails hanging on one side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to twist right at this post. I'm going to twist it halfway around so that it's on this side. The good side is facing down now. And the reason for that is I'm going to come back around with this. And this is where it gets a little bit messy. And you want to hold this here. And maybe, actually, I think I could get away with the closer one. So I just moved it closer because I've got, the last one I did, I actually used 2. So this is a 2.5-inch wide, I think. Yes. And this was also from Joann's. And then this one is a 1.5, but usually I use 2.5. And so you'll need the width, but this one I think is not going to be quite as bulky. So then we want to decide how big do we want the loops to stick out on either side. So the first loop we're going to put through and make sure that both of them are in the upward position. This is going to just kind of ride around. If you had another post, you could put it on there, but I'm putting it out to that outside hole on my bow thing, and that's where I'm going to go. So this spot right here in the middle, I'm just going to pinch it and twist so that it's upside down again on this side now. Okay. And this is where it starts looking messy. So just keep holding it right here. Don't let go of it. And then go ahead and make sure that both of them turned so that you have the right side down. And then you're going to make a loop the same length on this other side. So out here to the hole, I just checked. And then when you loop it around, it's going to be right side up again. So here we are, right side up. We want both the sides going to that hole. I'm just going to push this down so I can see it. Both the sides to that hole. And then at this point, I'm going to again turn it halfway around. I hope you can understand this. And then flip it around. And again, when you do the loop, it's going to come out down. Oops, that's not good. Don't come out on me. Stay in. Oops, I'm just smushing it in and putting it back in. Don't worry about this. Okay. And this is just kind of like a guide and a holder. And then this side, we are going to go ahead and do another loop. I'm going to do 4 loops. But I'm only going to go back and forth twice. But this time, instead of going all the way out to this end one, I'm going to go in a little so I have some short ones. And then at the same point, once I get it in there, I'm going to pinch it and turn. And then we're going to go and do the other side. So that put both of those on the facing downward. The part that's up is now the bad side. And then we're going to make another loop and go across here. Again, just keep your hand kind of holding that center point down because you don't want to lose it. And you can see we're going in just the same amount, just a little bit in. So I usually lay it out before I do the turn. And then now we're just going to take it and turn it right there in the center. Now, well, I am losing it today. I just did one before this and didn't have a problem. Okay, I'm just like, maybe because I'm nervous because I'm doing it live. All right, so there it is. That is our second turn. Now, if we want to leave like just one small loop in the middle, we've got it facing down, both of them. And you can see I got my smaller one on top by accident there. You want the smaller one on the bottom because you want it to be on the outside. And so I'm going to do just one small loop. This will be that center loop. Maybe not. I'm going to leave it. So you could do this again, just depending on how big of a bow you want. But remember, we have kind of a small wreath. I usually like to do, maybe I'll do 2. Okay, so we'll do 3 total. So I'm going to do this again. And I'm going to go a little bit less than the last one again. So you see I've got, oops, I've got the 3 different levels of loops here, and making sure to straighten them out, and then half a turn. If you do this right, it won't get tied up because you'll be coming back, but you know, you're not having fun if you're not making a mess. I know it looks complicated, but it really isn't. You just kind of are making your loops and just making sure everything comes out neatly. And then now our last turn to the other side, and we're just going to make that little smaller bow like we did on this side. And this last one, you just want to have them all facing up and no turn on the last final one. And the reason for that is going to be our other tail. So we have one tail here and one tail will come out on top. And so what we're going to do is actually, if everything looks good, if this side of the bow looks good, there we go. I'm going to just go ahead and measure them out like this and cut it off right there. Stay there, please. I've got kind of a hot mess here. I just like to get them the same length. And when I'm going full on and really paying attention to my bows and doing a lot of bows at a time, I'll end up cutting that last one as a dovetail right off the bat, but you can come back later and do the dovetail. I don't know. It just, if I can save a step, I will. Okay, so remember we have that twine underneath, and we just want to push this down really nice and pinch it in. And I'm going to just do one loop to tie this with each other, one coming from one side on the right side and one coming from the back side on the left, so that it goes through there. And these, oh shoot, anything that could go wrong. So hold the middle if that happens. My twine fell apart. That's not good. I'm going to grab some more twine. I was kind of wondering about that. I don't know where this twine came from, but it's not the best looking twine ever. So I'm just holding it now. It's like free holding. Everything's kind of fell apart when I did that. Whoops, not that one. And not that one. There we go. You could also use a piece of, so on the top, what I'm going to do is I'm just holding it. I'm still pinching it. Don't let go at all costs. Don't let go, even if your twine breaks. And I'm going to pull this through because I want it to, you could use a piece of floral wire to tie this, or you can use those pipe cleaners. I was like, what is the name of those? All right. And I can see I got it a little off. Nope, not too bad. All right. And then I'm going to bring it to the back because the back is where I'm going to tie it onto the wreath anyway. So this one, I'm going to go through the loop twice. And this is like a doctor's tightening because it doesn't come loose when you do twice. I don't know why. It's like called a surgeon's knot or something like that. And then we're just going to tie it again and tie it a third time just to be sure. And then I'm going to cut this off. You wouldn't have to cut it off because you would have had it already there. Okay, so that's in the center. And now you'll see, here's our bow. And from here, this is where, remember I was saying that your bows, 95% of making a bow is fussing. So here's the fussing part. First off, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to get this out of my way. Oh, I see what happened. I actually cracked my bow maker. I was being so rough on it. That's why it wasn't staying together. And we're going to go ahead and grab these tails down. And I like the dovetail, but you can do at an angle if you want. So I just fold it in half and go in towards the center. Make it shorter. Like that. So it's nice and clean looking on the end. I think also it kind of makes the fabric not unravel as much. So it sort of helps. And this one got turned over, and because it's wired, you can just, oops, no, it didn't. I thought it was turned over. Because it's wired, you can sit and kind of force it to go where you want it to go. All right, those are done. All right, and then from here, it kind of just looks like a bunch of ribbons that are flat. So we're going to start poofing them up. And with that, those being wired, they're going to poof up and stay up for us. And then, when you put it away for the season, you get to poof them up again next year. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is that poofing part, right? This is that fussing part that I talked about. So we're going to want to make the bow look crosswise. So we're going to take the two small ones and go opposite each other and then pull them apart like that. And so I'm going to make this like an X. So here's the middle section of that. You're not even going to see that twine at all on this bow because we put these little ones on top, okay? So same with these back ones. We're going to pull those. These are going to be kind of in the center, right? And then these two, we're going to pull opposite each other. But this is the shorter one. This is the longer one. And then on the other side, we want to do the opposite. So the shorter one goes up and the longer one goes down. And that just makes your bow, I don't know. I learned that along the way, and it just makes it look more professional, I guess. More, I don't know, a little bit random or whatever. And then you just want to go around and make sure that they're opposing, right? So we have berries, pattern, berries, pattern. And then up here, we want to do the same thing. Berries, just pull it apart and poof it up, pattern, and then berries again, and pattern. And that is it. Seriously, that is it. Isn't that the most gorgeous bow ever? I love this so much. All right, so we are going to, remember, come back. Oop, my little lights are going at it again. I don't know why they turn on by themselves, even though I have it turned off. Don't ask me. So we're going to put this on the top to hide that. And remember, I didn't have lights. I'll turn it on here. I didn't have lights up here at the top. But look at how that bow is just going to totally cover it up. So what we're going to do is tie this around, one through the center, one through the back. Tie this around onto our wreath. Let's see, we got 8 more minutes. Good, we are on time. And then the other thing I'm doing while I'm tying it is I'm also tying on that battery pack on the back. And then I'm going to also come back probably with a ribbon and tie around it to be a hanger. So before I get this too secure, I actually want to do that first. And I'm going to use this ribbon because it's thinner and just go around. I'm going to feed it. I think I'm going to do that first. We're just going to go around both the lights and because I want to have a hanger on this. You could put a wire hanger on the back if you wanted, just have a small one, but I'm going to have one where you can just hang it, with some length. So do it a little bit longer than you think you need because you want to tie a knot up here. That is my trick. Oops, too long. I went longer instead of shorter. Okay. And this one, where did my scissors go? I lost my scissors. This one will just cut off and I'll fix it after we tie it in a knot. So this is just gonna hold it so you can hang it, but it's gonna match because we've got the same ribbon. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it when ribbons go on sale. It has to be a lot on sale for me. Like just saying. Okay, and then I've got that just like a fat knot on there. And what I'll do here is you can either dovetail that or you can cut it at an angle. I usually cut these at an angle. And cutting at an angle, it's going across grain, so it's less likely to unravel on you than if you cut a straight line there. Just some fabric how-to. All right, now we're coming back to that bow. See how that looks? Nice to have that bow carrying it. I will get you up here too so that you can take a look at it. And we're going to get this burlap twine around here. And I'm just going to actually go around. Sorry about that. All right. So I'm just making sure that this gotta take care of the kids. got got teenagers out. So they need a ride. There we go. So I'm just doing a couple of rounds around that with the twine around the battery and the wreath. And it's okay, it's sideways right now, so don't panic just yet. And I'm putting the battery pack on there sideways as well. And this first tie, again, I'm going through the loop twice to do that surgeon's tie so that it doesn't slip on me and it'll hold wherever I put it. And then I'm just going to tie a bow back here because if somebody wants to change the bow on the back, and then I'm just going to remember this is all like wired, so it doesn't matter how it goes on there. I can get it all. This is that fussing part, remember? Bows, I found it's not that, I don't think anyway. Oops, that's the tie. Sorry about that. Got a little messed up in there. I was thinking it was part of the bow. Um, Bows are 95% fussing. That's it. And I learned from a really good friend of mine. She's like, everybody loves a lighted wreath. So that's where I got the idea for the wreath. And I'm telling you, people would request that year after year to have the lighted wreaths. It became quite an ordeal actually to get, because I'd have to light the live ones. But I didn't do it for everybody. I just did it for close friends. And then what we can do is come back with our hot glue and put the hot glue. I'm going to get my ribbon aside here. Isn't that pretty? I think it's so pretty. Let me put you up here so I can hold it up. Maybe too far. All right. Isn't that gorgeous? It does look a little blue. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to turn it off. So here's the hanger. And what you want to do is come back in when you figure out where you want it and tack the ends down just a tad onto the greens so that it always looks just the same. But see how neat, see how amazing that bow looks, and easy peasy, right? We just needed the two posts. Not hard at all. And it's going to stay like that. Or, you know, you can do a little bit of, but we are not finished. Let's get our hot glue gun going here. Oh, I am maybe out of juice. And we're going to do some, the other thing that I was going to say that you could do, and so we are just going to, this is bendable, so you can stick this right in here and kind of use the greens on it to get it in there. And like I said, we're going to, we're going to, I'm going to need to look at it from the front, but as we close up here, you get the idea. I think like a little angle, and then don't forget your jingle bells. You've got some of those. Ooh, I found the perfect ones. These little, they're like kind of an off color. I think I'd just take some of that twine and string it on the twine and maybe put, I don't know. One of the things that we did often with the jingle bells was, my husband is home. Hopefully he got the girls because I had asked him to. Well, maybe it's some thinner twine. String your bells into twine or string or something, because that helps them kind of jingle while you're using. And I think we might just kind of put a knot in this. We have just about 30 seconds left here. I appreciate you coming on in this evening, or today, this morning. Make sure you check out all the other ladies in the DIY Arts and Crafts room all day Saturday, the 23rd. And I hope you have a very blessed day. As you can see, this, we're just going to go ahead and tie this around the bottom. I'm going to tie these at different lengths. I'm going to get a little bit more of this. This was a thinner twine. I don't want them to be together, so I might actually tie them on separately. And that will be our little wreath. Isn't it cute? Thank you. Yeah. So hopefully some of those ideas just helped you out, and have a great day. Be very blessed, and go on over to the DIY Arts and Crafts and Refresh so you can see the rest.